to music to teach the whole child, the body, heart, and
to learn new skills and to build new acumen.
As the year goes on, I get closer and closer. We can always touch. It's not.
When you get that, then you get a lot more excited about being around children.
Normal, in a sense, with all of the changes.
Or how you can transform your own business.
On developing the whole child, socially, emotionally.
Traditional route of teaching young people
how to set boundaries, because this little victim here needs to know how.
Very well. So they use that term.
I sometimes expanded them to go up to 40 minutes.
All of those things in education, of course, those things are important.
Student is going to our heads and our lungs.
The affirmations in the mirror for about 2 minutes.
What did you do in order to get yourself going?
this is amazing.
It happens, what seems to happen quite a bit in our school.
For the families to come and they...
Is that really for the child, or is it for us, for the parents?
And doing new things for our brain.
Who's orchestrating everything in this universe?
Which parts of the brain are used?
Based on that map that we have.
See you with your smiling face.
Atul, thank you very much for allowing me to join you. Namaste to you, my friends.
Hello, welcome, good morning, good evening to all who have joined us from different part of the world to our Early Childhood Global Spotlight Talk Show. I am Atul Tyagi, once again, your host from India. I'm also a co-founder of a preschool chain in the name of Wowkids, having more than 150 centers spread across 20 states of our country. Now, friends, before we get started, if you are just new here, we do these live shows usually every Sunday, 9 p.m. my time, which is Indian Standard Time, which is 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. The point of these shows is to simply inspire all early childhood educators, parents, and all who have interest in small children. Also, let me tell you, if you have any question during the show, feel free to leave a comment and we would be happy to take them during the show. All right, folks, today we have Dr. Anjum Saba from Bangalore, India, who is the guest for today. Hi, Anjum.
Hi, Atul. Hi, Mar. Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. It's indeed my pleasure to share the stage with you guys.
Great, great, great. We are also joined by our very own Marian Herman from United States. Hi, Mar.
Hi.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, good evening.
Yes. So before we get started, let me give a small introduction of our guest, Anjum. So Dr. Anjum Saba is a dentist turned entrepreneur and a conscious parenting and relationship coach. Her mission is to help parents evolve and heal their childhood wounds to achieve lasting relationships with their children and loved ones by awakening consciousness. She also started a preschool in the name of Einstein High in the year 2011, is a very passionate about laying the right foundation for children in their formative years, which focuses on holistic development and also to make sure that kids' emotionally development is well taken care of so that they grow as self-reliant and emotionally resilient adults. To best be able to do this, Anjum studied multiple intelligence. Wow. Multiple intelligences, which is the basis of her preschool curriculum. She has studied child psychology and also attended Dr. Shefali's Conscious Coaching Institute, which gave her access to varied resources and a deep understanding about child psychology. Once again, I welcome Anjum to the show, our Spotlight Talk Show. Welcome, Anjum.
Thank you so much.
We also have my co-host for today, Marian Herman, the founder of internationally respected Music with Mar from Florida, United States. She's also the moderator and the backbone of this global community. I welcome Mar, and over to you, Marian.
Well, thank you, Atul. I became really interested in contacting Anjum when I was seeing the posts that she was sending to us about such positivity and reinforcement. And one of the things is the importance of taking time for yourself. And that is an important thing to do, kind of like on an airplane. If the oxygen comes down, your instinct is to help your child first. But if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of anyone else. So what an important message. But you got there by way of dentistry. So, you change course from dentistry to your passion for early childhood and helping parents to understand how to better themselves, to be better parents. How did that transition happen?
Well, for sure, it's a roller coaster ride. There's no denial about it. Dentistry, I pursued my bachelor's in dentistry because I wouldn't shy from saying this, because my mom wanted me to be a doctor. Okay, so that's the basis for me being a dentist. Maybe I was not really passionate about it. It didn't really come from the roots from which I really wanted to practice and continue the same. I quickly switched over to be an educator. I started my preschool, as already you guys have mentioned. And that probably came to me again, thanks to my mom, because my parents are also educators. So they have been in this industry for good 35 years plus now. Since childhood, I have been watching them educating kids, like growing in the same kind of environment. So that, I think it became a part of my DNA, it got into my nervous system. And so it was a very smooth transition for me from a dentist to an educator. And it's, yeah. You saying something?
No.
Okay. So that was a smooth transition. It really, I was very happy and passionate doing about it, probably walking into the same footsteps that my parents have walked. Or you can even call it like a pattern that has been carried forwarded from my parents. So been in industry for good 10 years. I also was seeing parents on a day-to-day basis, looking at kids on a day-to-day basis. And so much goes around with a parent and a child relationship, which sometimes is actually out of our understanding. There are some pieces of puzzle which go missing, which gets really difficult to put in alignment, to put in place, and crack our minds to think what's exactly happening. So pandemic in one way has been a blessing to me, because it's during pandemic that I thought and I realized that I really need to upgrade my skills to see how best I can help my parents out there. How can I strengthen the relationship between the parent and the child? What more can be done about it? Why is that there is a kind of disconnection? No matter, as parents, there is no doubt about the love that we shower on our kids. It's undeniable. But still, there is something that doesn't connect really well. So probably I was destined not just to heal people physically by being a dentist, but also to heal people on a much deeper level. And that's how I transitioned my journey. And I'm very happy and glad the way things are turning out. And I'm enjoying this space as well, where I'm able to interact with so many parents and to help them evolve, help them realize what it really takes to be a parent, because it's not really intuitive.
Yes. And it comes through in what you post, and just even now in your facial expression, your eyes, they're alive, they're interactive. Like, you can tell that you are excited to be given an opportunity to talk about something you're passionate about. So you posted a video that caught my eye, and it was about how important self-care is and why it's not being selfish to take time for yourself. Can you talk on that a little bit?
Absolutely, Mar. I would love to do that, because I want this message to reach out to as many people as possible. Because, okay, I will further continue on the talk. I just want to start with this beautiful quote by Rumi. He says, When you do things from your soul, a river of joy flows within you. Okay, this was given by Rumi, and I hold this really very dear to me, because this is what self-care does to you. Okay, so when you practice self-care, you start doing things from your soul, from your being. You're no more acting on a mental level. It's not just mental, it's not just mind that's playing its role, but you open your doors from the heart. Those doors, open up. So that gives you, that joy that comes within you. It is so streamless, it flows everywhere, it flows across your relationships. You become so rich with it that you don't hold on yourself. You are so rich with that love, with the care, with the self-compassion. It just flows without any bounds to everybody who is associated with you. That's what self-care does. And I can't emphasize enough the kind of magic it really creates. Because right from our childhood, we have been conditioned to do and do and do. Especially women, we have always been taught to prioritize others, to keep others' needs well before than our needs, to take care of others first, and then probably, if time is left, you can look back into yourself.
Right.
But you are so exhausted, you don't have energy, you are drained completely. So when you are coming from that energy, what can you expect out of yourself? What can you give? You can give frustration, you can give irritation, you can give a lot of, it builds to a lot of chaos around you. Well, you have been trying to do a lot better, but just because you're so drained within, you are completely behaving in an opposite way. So I really want to reach out everyone who's watching us right now and request to make self-care as a practice. If we say that we don't have time, it's a myth. Because once we start inculcating self-care into our day-to-day life, in fact, you will have more time to do things in a much better way.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Being more present.
Absolutely.
Being more present. Yeah.
You're also modeling for the child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because being present, being aware of what's really happening within you can bring a lot of positivity in the atmosphere. It can put a pause to your reactivity. You can hold, you can come and enter that stillness. You can realign with yourself when you are able to have self-care as a routine.
Yes, and I want to take a moment here. We have quite a few people that have joined us today. And Atul, I could not see the names.
Okay, so let me give a big shout out to everybody who has joined. We have Siddharth who has commented. Hi, Siddharth, if you can see us. Hello to you. He has also said hi to Marian and Anjum. Then we have Preeti. Preeti says to Marian, good to see you. And also she welcomes Anjum. Then we have Sana who is saying, welcome Dr. Anjum to the Early Childhood Global Spotlight Show. Then we have today Holly, Elisa, Bruno watching us. I can see. Thank you, Holly, for taking your precious time to watch us. Then we have Wowkids, Bright Minds. Then we have Mr. Malvia ji, who is also watching. He's a regular visitor, all the shows. Mr. Malvia sees. He's one of Wowkids franchisees in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So we also have Wowkids, Bright Minds watching us. So hi, Wowkids, Bright Minds. I'm not sure who is logged in with that ID, but that's one of our branches.
So
yes, we're good to go.
This comment here about such an important topic, self-care, is that Holly?
No, it is Preeti who has said that's such an important topic. Yes.
Self-care.
So Preeti says such an important topic, self-care. I believe self-care allows us to give more energy, better responses, and positive connect with self and people around. Absolutely. She is right. We also had Debbie coming in. Debbie
Oh,
says, "Good morning from northern USA." Hi, Debbie Clement. She makes sure that she bumps into our shows and motivates us. We also have Mr. Ramakrishna Reddy, who is also joined us from Hyderabad, which is another place that we have. Yes, let's carry on, Marion.
okay. So I want to stay here for a couple of more minutes. And I would like to know how you give advice to someone who says, when you say, you know what, I think your child, and I'm just assuming this is probably something I can see you doing. And if I'm wrong, correct me. But where you might counsel a parent and say, I think your child could benefit from some time with you today. And the parent says to you, I can't. I am just so busy. And how to get through to a parent like that this time is not wasted time. It actually makes the other time better.
Actually, Mar, we don't really have to invest hours together with our kids. What really matters is those small little moments where we are able to connect with them fully, completely, without any kind of deviation or diversion. You know, that undivided attention, even for 2 minutes, can make a huge difference for a child. It doesn't really mean like you have to sit hours together with them and get them do something. See, even when you, if you're like, since now pandemic, we have been working from home quite more than it used to be. And everything gets to be very chaotic because we got to look into our work, we got to look into our chores, we got to look into our kids and husbands and things out there. I'm talking with respect to mothers, especially. So what really happens is we are not in a frame of mind where we can really have that compassion to others. We are so caught up in the world of doing that we forget our beingness. Okay, and that makes you get triggered for even the slightest of things. So being present, practicing mindfulness, being
Yes,
present to the
I was
moment.
about to say that. It
Yeah.
is my
So,
being present in the
yes.
moment and enjoying the very moment and being full heartedly involved in everything that you do and not thinking about what happened in the previous hour or yesterday and keeping those burdens or think about what is going to happen tomorrow. I think this pandemic has taught before we went live we were talking with Anjum on the same thing that this time has made us much more stronger and a lot of patience. A lot of these things I'm sure a lot of people would have learned, and if they've not learned, then you missed an opportunity. You actually got 1.5 years to practice all this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So, that's why I told pandemic has been in disguise, it definitely has been a best year of my life because there's so much that I could learn. I had issues with my child. To connect on an emotional level. There were so many challenges that I was facing, and I was like, God, where is all of this leading to? What can I do better? How can I become a better parent? Because good parents are made, they are not born. It's really important to understand this. So
Yes.
being present, accepting the present moment, and then looking into it, what can be done. So even if you're working and your child comes, be very gentle, be very polite to them, and tell them, this is what I am in between. Can you please allot me 5 minutes and I will get back to you? When you make that statement, make sure that you get back to them in 5 minutes. And I'm sure your child is going to understand because the child is not going to connect with words, but with the energy with which you encounter them. It's more about the energy.
Yes. Now,
And
Dr.
then very importantly, if you've asked for those 5 minutes, then it's very necessary to get back to them after those 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
So, you see,
You
there's a
are
lot of
the
there are a lot of things which are happening with parents and children on social media. So parents have given their children their another phone to them. So it's generally seen that parent is doing something on the mobile phone and the child is also doing. So there's no connect.
There's
You
no
know,
connect.
so there's no connect at that man. You are in a different world because the social media takes you to a different world actually.
Absolutely. I mean, like, there was a podcast which I released earlier where I talk about we being globally connected. I mean, like, we are connected with people across the world, but we are not connected with the ones around us.
You got it.
Huge
You nailed it.
disconnection.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yes.
this thing, you know, social media or mobile phone should not be at the cost of your relationship with your own children or family.
Absolutely.
That's something that people have to understand. It can't be
And then
at the
you
cost.
complain that your child is being more engaged in the gadgets. And then you
Yeah.
complain that you're not able to get rid of your child from the gadgets. So ultimately, who is at the
Yes,
I mean,
you've understood it.
Who's in charge?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
One of
yes,
the things,
completely.
of course, I'm always going to throw in a brain fact. So, Dr. Becky Bailey, they did research, and one of the things they found was that you had said, oh, it could take just 2 or 3 minutes. And yes, it can. Studies have shown that if you give a child 15 minutes of undivided attention, so you take 15 minutes to sit down with them at the piano, or 15 minutes to read a book, 15 minutes to share a snack, that oppositional behavior goes down by 50%.
That's huge. That's
a
massive.
lot.
Absolutely.
That is a lot.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because children spell love Time. So all
Time.
they're doing is crying out for you, pay attention to me. And if instead of constantly saying, not now, give me a few more minutes, you stop everything and you say, we have 15 minutes together right now, you and me, that's it. Afterwards, you're going to do this and I'm going to do that. You're going to be much, much more successful. And I really love how you say it's more important to pay attention to the being and not the doing. And which leads into how we have all different styles of learning, all different styles of children,
Absolutely.
and we ourselves. So we, might be one style and our child is another. They're not going to automatically be the same as we are, which leads into multiple intelligences and the work of Dr. Howard Gardner, which I had studied, years ago when it was first coming out. And one of the things, of course, that I loved was that Dr. Howard Gardner says music is the first of the multiple intelligences to awaken in a person. We all show that music first. So why is it important for parents to understand?
See, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mary, and just one thing which I was just thinking, it was coming to my mind while we were discussing this. Now, what Anjum was saying, Anjum, you have been running a preschool for almost 10 years, and we also are running this preschool chain. There must be so many instances when parents come to you and say, "Madam, please ask my child to do this. Please ask him. If you tell, he will do. If the teacher says, he will do. Otherwise, it's so many times it has happened because we care." Because our teachers give that extra attention to the child, and we look into the eyes of the child, we understand them, and we don't bug them, we don't pressurize them for doing something which they don't want to do. And that's the reason they listen to us, and we kind of even they spend what 2 to 3 hours in a preschool every day, and they spend the rest 21 hours of the day with their parents, and then the weekends. But still the parent comes to the teacher and the owner, ma'am, aap bolenge, if you tell, then my child is going to eat this. If you tell, then he's going to do that. Please tell. And you, ma'am, you'll get it done. He's not listening to me. That's all about the connect. That's all about, because we are in the moment. When the teacher enters the preschool gate, we make sure that she forgets what's lying at the bag, whatever she had at home. She has to be in the moment, and she has to take care of children. I'm sure, Marian, you can also relate to the classes that you take.
I think that's like a whole nother topic we could have. It's about parents giving up power.
Which is very, very important.
Another important topic that could take up a whole 45 minutes and a good point to make, Atul. But I just wanted now to get to Anjum's answer to why it's important to understand the different types of intelligences and how that can be helpful, that understanding.
Howard Gardner very beautifully laid it out in his book in Frames of Mind in 1983, actually, where he doesn't conceptualize intelligence only on the basic level, on a general level. He says that intelligences can be in varied forms. It can also differ in degrees. We all have those intelligences, but it's just that the intelligence I am good you may not be good at the same intelligence, or you may not be good to that degree. So this interests me a lot because I feel a child is going to have a lot of advantages when we utilize this methodology as a teaching process. Here, we are not just focusing on the intellect of a child. We are also focusing on the various domains that the child is born with. He has very beautifully laid it out with respect to linguistic, logical, and then interpersonal, intrapersonal, music. So there are 8 different multiple intelligences, and every child is unique. Every child has a different potential, and catering a child with multiple intelligences caters its uniqueness. We are not treating every child as same. We are treating a child's uniqueness and the ability with which they can flourish.
Yes, very well said. Very
Yeah.
well.
So, the child is doing things out of his interest, her interest. Child is interested in music. They are learning a particular concept out of music. A child is good with interpersonal skills. The child is learning the concept out of those skills. Child is good with logical, then the child is learning a concept out of logical. And another thing that really interests me about this is when we take early toddlers or preschool kids, their right brain is more dominant than the left brain. And right brain is associated with a lot of imagination, creativity, music, everything put in together, where it truly nourishes the soul of the child. And multiple intelligences caters a child on that level and not on a logical level. So the child is able to utilize his imagination, his creativity, which probably we as adults take it away from them because we have our own agendas to be fulfilled. Yes.
Very sad.
That's the truth. Yeah, that's a sad reality.
But if you notice that a child is more interpersonal, then you want to take advantage of that by setting them up for success by giving them things to do that involves other people. Where if they're intrapersonal, you would want to allow them to work more on their own.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
recognizing these different intelligences can help us in directing.
Yes.
Yes.
So it will be easy for us to understand what the child is really good at and help the child learn according to that stream of intelligence rather than overloading them with every other thing available in the market. So if parents can understand what is the intelligence of the child, it's very easy to know. If a child is wanting to hear to music, it says that the child is interested in music. So you want to teach a concept, might as well play music on that concept and the child is going to pick it up like that. You really don't have to put any efforts in doing it.
Right.
Correct.
Right. What would you advise for someone who's just beginning to understand and implement these steps to becoming more aware of their need to heal themselves so that they can best be a better parent for their child? We all have those parent issues that we haven't gotten over. No, we're fine.
No.
And how do we not carry them on with our children? How do we heal ourselves?
Thank you for asking this, Mar, because this is really important. And that's what my mission is all about, to heal those childhood wounds. Because as we are kids, the world, the environment, our parents, our society, that conditions us. We are programmed to work in a certain way. And as sorry? Okay. As Dr. Shefali says, we don't live our life, but we are living our patterns. And that's very true. It is so subconscious, we don't really realize that this is what we have been, or this is what our parents have done with us, and we are exactly replicating the same. Forgetting that every child is different and they need a different kind of understanding and supportive environment from the parents. So why is it important to heal ourselves? As we were kids, no doubt, our parents had the best of intentions for us. They loved us. They catered to every need of us. But somewhere there is a void that's left on the emotional level because they didn't know how to do it. They themselves were unconscious. So meeting a child on an emotional level is altogether a different ballgame. And that creates a lot of unmet needs within us. Am I good enough? Am I worthy? Am I loved? Am I heard? Am I seen for who I am? Because we parents have our own agendas, we try to reflect the same onto our children. And our kids, they want to be attached to us. They don't want to lose the attachment. So what do? They give up their authenticity and come up with a mask that satisfies us, that pleases us. So it's really important for a parent to understand what are those unmet needs of my childhood, which I am reflecting on my kids. How do I meet them?
Can you, Anjum, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you give an example, maybe some parent, so that it's very clear? And just give an example that, considering an XYZ parent or something, where you would have encountered that this was the issue and this is how it was.
For sure. Say suppose if I was not if my parents didn't give me the kind of attention I did required, or they always looked down upon me, then I developed something called low self-esteem in my life. Say I had a sibling who was given more priority or who was given more importance than me, I developed something called low self-esteem, and that remains within me. And as I grow into an adult, and now that I am a parent, this wound of low self-esteem is not healed. So when my child doesn't listen to me, doesn't obey me, I am triggered.
Yes.
Not because my child is not obeying or listening to me, but because of my low self-esteem.
Yes.
So what generally those parents, how do they react with the child?
We are triggered. We start screaming. We start shouting because we don't know how to take care of this emotion within us.
Yes. Because we have seen that when I was a child, just as an example, I used to do whatever my parents say. So why is my child arguing with me over a small thing? So, is that what you want to say? Okay. Yes.
Basically, you start feeling that your child is not obeying you. You are not respected.
Yeah.
You don't feel respected. And why is that need to feel respected?
Because we have come with preconceived notion that parents are to be respected the way they are.
A lot of preconceived.
Whether or not they give
the authoritative
attention or not. Yes.
We are the authoritative figures. We always want to have that upper hand on our children. We always want to have that dominance. So when that is not given to us, we get triggered. And the only way we feel that the child is going to abide is by screaming and shouting. Yes, momentarily the child is going to listen to you, but not on a long term. And for you to refrain yourself from getting triggered, from developing a harmonious relationship, for you to connect with your child, you need to first understand what's going within you. What are those unmet needs which you are carrying within yourself? Because there's nobody on the outside who can complete us. Those holes got to be filled by you becoming a whole, WHOLE.
And how does somebody do that, Anjum? Somebody who has had a very, I will say, you said low self-esteem childhood, okay, because of XYZ reasons, the way he or she was treated in our family. So at this age, when that person has become a parent and now there's a situation here, then generally what is the way that they heal? What is that, okay, what is that understanding that person needs to bring in to heal?
First of all, every person has to accept themselves for who they are and not being judgmental about it.
Okay.
With a complete acceptance, when you are able to look yourself for who you are and being compassionate, you are opening the doors to become conscious. And then if you want to step onto the healing journey, to understand what's really going on, how to have that control, how to regulate your emotions so that you become a container, probably you can hire a coach.
Yes.
You can have somebody who can guide you.
Somebody who can really, understand and tell you that you have to accept that whatever was happening in your life was not the right thing. And you as a mother should not, or a father should not be doing the same thing to your children just because you had that. So you have to accept and understand that your child was whatever happened, for which the way you are reacting today was not the right thing. And you have to understand, digest it, take it with a pinch of a salt, and grow over it.
And also it's really important to have that self-compassion towards ourselves, because whoever we are, whatever we are doing, it is in response to our childhood experiences, which we have developed as coping mechanisms. Had we not developed these coping mechanisms, it would have been very difficult to survive during our childhood. You can just imagine if you're not feeling attached to your parents or to your primary caregiver, you think it would be easy for you to survive? Absolutely not. Absolutely. So you had to develop a coping mechanism where you start pleasing your parents, where you start pleasing your primary caregivers. So that's where a child loses its authenticity. And as I told you, it has to come with a non-judgmental perspective, knowing that whoever you are or whatever patterns that you have been reflecting in your childhood are your own mechanisms which you utilized to survive through it.
Yes.
So what are some resources you would recommend to parents, things they can do to recognize and overcome some of their childhood wounds so that we break the cycle? Breaking the cycle is a very, very important thing, and very, very hard. I know I had many talks with my daughter, and we worked very hard to break the cycle of things that, were part of my family. But one of the things I know I would recommend is your YouTube channel, because you have some wonderful chats up there. But what are some other directions you can point people that are saying, yeah, I do have some wounds I have to heal to be a better parent?
Absolutely, Mar. I would definitely recommend a lot of resources. In fact, see, if you really want to awaken your consciousness and to know how to really embody that in your life so that you have an harmonious relationship with your child, you first need to raise yourself before you start raising your children. We need to raise our consciousness, and to do that, I would definitely recommend all of Dr. Shifali's books. They are a great resource to parents to understand what it means to embody consciousness in our life, what it means to break those patterns, what it means to understand triggers. So I would say Out of Control by Dr. Shefali, then, Awakened Family by Dr. Shefali, A Conscious Parent by Dr. Shefali. These are amazing resources. And if I have to talk about self-care, I would definitely recommend Evolution of Motherhood by Susie Lula, where she gives a complete insight. And there are a lot of chapters which talks about how you can actually inculcate these practices in your life. So that's another great resource for self-care. And I would also recommend Parenting from Inside Out by Dr. Dan Siegel.
So net, what I understand, Anjum, because you read a lot. So reading and rubbing that, even if you don't have anybody to express yourself or no coach, these books can also be a great help. They can rub off their brilliance on you. When you read a book, you can actually sometimes imagine yourself and keep yourself in that moment and rub off the brilliance from the book to yourself.
And if I may say, just give a little plug here, but seriously, listening to some of these talks, listening to experts when they're in your area, it's kind of hard, during the pandemic and everything, but I learned a lot when I got to listen to Dr. Peter Alsop, and I got to listen to Dr. Becky Bibb, when I heard Holly Alyssa Bruno speak. So go back into the archives of this page and please listen again to this, because now Anjum is saying something and you're going, oh, when she said that at the beginning, so go back and listen to it again. And before we, sign off here, please, if you have any questions, now's the time to put them in there in the chat box so that she can answer them for you before she has to go away. And we will get the names of Dr. Shefali, maybe a link to his website so you could look up those books, and we'll put them in the feed of this spotlight. So listen to people like this. Take the time to go back and listen again to what Dr. Saba has said to us today. Let's let her close us out here with something I might have missed that you want to say.
Another suggestion is from Dr. Gabor Mate. His book is
yes.
Hold On to Your Kids is also a great resource. And one of the self-care practice that really revives me and that probably sets the tone for the day is listening to these wisdom teachers. So it's not really difficult to access. They're there on YouTube and a lot of other resources which you can really get in handy. And I always look up to these wisdom teachers to understand how to embody these things in our life, because all these things were very new to me. I never had any knowledge until I got into the institute and learned from Dr. Shefali. And that has brought a great transformation in my life. It has changed the lens through which I see my parenthood now.
Mm-hmm.
So it all begins with us. So it's nothing about the child. It's all about us.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
See, our children will become what we are because they spend most of the time with us. They see us, and our childhood today, what we are is complete, I will say, a very big reflection of our childhood. The way, we used to see an environment in the house, of if everybody used to keep shouting, then, we also, there's a very big chance or probability where, we also become that kind of parents where we know that it only works when we shout. So, but then it's very important for us to get that knowledge that it is not right. See, this is a different century. It is, things are changing at God's speed. Now what the teenagers used to have phone, now a 80 or 10-year-old can play those kind of video games and do everything, every stuff which a teenager used to do. So with this technology revolution, or whatever you can say, that things are changing with God's speed, and if you don't change as an individual, you are going to have a hard time, and maybe you may not have that kind of connect with your children anymore. They will get detached from you even earlier than you expect.
We have a question here.
Yes.
Can you see it? Is it Dr.
Shefali Tasabari?
Yes, it's Dr. Shefali Sabari, yes.
Sabari. Okay, T is silent.
It is Dr. Shefali Sabari that I'm referring to.
Yes, so this is right. So it is Dr. Shefali. Yes, Marian.
That's what I just was calling attention to the question. I love that we got a question. I want to see some more.
Yes, we have a very interesting topic. I think we have got people to think and go back to their past and reflect on their past, and now think of how they behave with their children.
We might have sent some people to therapy.
See, I am a coach. Okay, I help people with all of this. I help parents, I help individuals to understand what it is really that's making them behave a certain way, or what is it that's not really working out. But for me to stay in alignment, I need to work with a coach who can help me and guide me. So having a coach in life is really, really important, because
you have a coach?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yes. Excellent.
I think every individual needs to have one, because they will be more aligned, and when there is nobody around for you to talk to, you have somebody to go to. Because it's not easy to deal with those emotions that come up.
Exactly, you're right, Anjum. You should let out your emotions, especially I think now with the last 1.5 years, the kind of business that we are doing in preschool, we are going to overflow with emotions. I'm sure.
I think we're already overflowed with emotions.
That time is over. We bypassed. That happened last year, and now we've bypassed the time. Amazing. Wonderful.
Even if a person doesn't have, if I have time, can I just?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So even if you don't have a coach, what I would highly suggest is, see, it's important to understand what's going within us, so that it's not dumped onto our kids or onto our other family members. So whatever emotion is coming up, whatever feeling is coming up, we have always been conditioned. We have always been told to shut it down. We have always been told to get ourselves distracted in all possible ways. Probably eating, binging on Netflix, or shopping. See, even if you see a toddler or a preschooler or a child crying, what do? You distract the child. You don't really allow the child to cry and express what he is going through. You want to shut it down.
Yes.
And we carry the same pattern in our life, and we keep shutting down our emotions. The best way is to put it down onto a paper. Start journaling.
Anything. That's something that everybody should do. Come what may, any problem or anything, any emotion you are going through, any difficulty you're going through, just pen it down. I'm sure then once you pen it down, you will understand. You will be able to gauge the I will say weight of the problem. You might even get to a solution before you realize that there was a problem. But until you accept and understand that this is the situation and this is the problem, you won't be able to solve it. It is going to just keep adding to the chaos.
Yes.
Completely.
You are just filling it up within yourself, and where it's going to blow out of proportion. And once it is there inside you, it wants to come out eventually. So before it's late, or before it gets very chaotic, Start regulating your emotions. Understand what is happening. Just sit with it. It is okay no matter what the feeling is. You're feeling crappy. Yes, I am feeling crappy. Accept it without being judgmental about it.
That's
And
where,
sorry?
That's where it comes in, with, like Dr. Peter Alsop said, you don't label emotions as good or bad. You label them as comfortable and uncomfortable, and you deal with them.
Absolutely, yes.
That's very good point, Marian, that you reminded us that there's nothing good or bad. You should not label them good or bad, but just comfortable and uncomfortable. That's it. So excellent, I think.
So
Anything
I
else?
encourage everyone to reach out if you
See,
have questions.
just before we end this, Anjum, I would want to know, you as a mother, as a educator, as a parenting expert, how do you yourself practice? Do you give breaks for yourself? Do you have your me time?
Yes, I do.
You can just give your personal life example. This is how I keep control of my emotions, or this is how I keep myself in the moment. Yes, over to you.
I have a morning routine which I follow up on a day-to-day basis. So I first start with meditation because that's the heart and soul of our well-being. Because that really made a difference in my life. I was able to pause, I was able to reflect before I behave. Sometimes, yes, it is out of control because we are all human,
Human
but
beings. Yes.
we are equipped better when we have mindful practices with us. So the first thing is meditation. Then it's about being physically active in whatever way you can. Just go on a jog or a walk, or if you can do some jumping jacks at home, whatever makes you feel comfortable, where you are involving your body.
Yes.
Really important because we have been taught to live with our mind and not connect with our bodies. So you miss out onto a lot of information or messages that your body wants to give you. So when you're physically engaged, you're more aligned. And I also do a lot of affirmations so that there is a positivity. I come with a positive
Yes.
energy. I interact with that kind of an attitude. And so these are the things which really set the tone for my day.
Yes, amazing. I think you must go back and listen to our last week's conversation that we had with Andres. Same thing. Okay, same thing. How to, elevate yourself even when it is tough time. You have to see, this is what it is. You have to consciously train your mind to be positive
Absolutely.
and
We
let
have
go
to
of the past.
rewire our mind. We have to
Otherwise,
rewire our
for
brain.
most of the parents, the life is they will watch Netflix late in the night. They get up in the morning in a chaos. Children, get up! It's time for your online classes. Rush! And they're rushing and making breakfast. There's a chaos. The day begins with a chaos. If you,
Absolutely.
as a parent, we don't give that me time to ourselves. So that's very important. Before you get started into your parenting routine, you must have your time. And as very rightly said, and very good, that you should have some affirmations. And yes, some people like to even practice gratitude, that you should
Absolutely.
thank
Yes.
for whatever you have. Start with a very positive note.
While I'm
Affirmation.
writing my affirmations, I also make sure that I write 5 points on gratitude, what I'm grateful
Yes,
for.
absolutely. These are very, very. See, Marian, everybody who is positive, we've interacted so many people. Let me tell you, all our viewers, we've interacted so many people, and the way Anjum came today to the show, and we became so comfortable. We could see that how energetic and how, I will say, charming she is only because of that morning routine and those affirmations and those gratitude practices. And all of the people that I have interacted who keep that kind of attitude are having the same kind of routine. There's not even a single one which we had, who was having that energy and charisma and was on the show, who says, "Oh no, I get up, I do that, I don't get up on time, I don't have any routine."
Right.
So that's very important for you to get up on time and work out, and give your body, your soul, some kind of practice, energy, whatever it takes for you to really be positive. And the same way you must end the day, you should have some positive ways rather than just seeing the screen. Music, I personally, I love enjoying a different kind of music before I go to sleep. So listening, only listening, not seeing anything, but listening to a certain. And let me tell you, Marian, this I've just, in the past 1 year, or and more of in the last 6 months, or I'll say, I love to enjoy the music that I used to listen when I was a you know I was a child. Those I it takes me back to my childhood. It gives me that energy that I used to be having when I was a small child. So there are several other ways. I'm not against, some people might get that energy seeing some motivation, some really nice thing on Netflix. I don't know. I have never watched Netflix in my life. I don't plan to do that, but
I
it
love
might have. I
Netflix.
don't know. All right. There may be some content that people, I'm sure,
It's
might be
about how
seeing.
we utilize the content that's available for
Absolutely.
us. Apple.
Yes.
That's really
Yes.
important.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
also, this is where the law of attraction comes in. We
Thoughts become
attract what we
things.
get. So that might be
Yes.
another topic soon.
Yes, we have
Something
to.
on
Yeah,
the law
yeah.
of attraction. So we got some good ideas today after listening to you and all your positivity. I want to thank you because I think people need to hear it's okay to take care of yourself. My daughter, when she was younger, I can remember one time I walked her down the hall and told her she had to stay in her room. And she said, "Am I in timeout?" And I said, "No, I'm putting myself in timeout. I need a few minutes to myself. And you are not in trouble. You've done nothing wrong. I just need to have time to myself. And putting you in your room lets me know you're safe while I do that." And she understood that. But, I knew that in order to be a good mom, needed to step back, and so everybody needs to learn it's okay to do that. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. You took your kid and put her in a room so that you could be by yourself for a few minutes. Yes, I did. And it's okay. So thank you for sharing that. And I want let people know about your YouTube channels and how they can reach out to you for coaching if they're interested in that. And we can close on that. And Atul can then say his final goodbye. Well, hopefully not final. I think you guys are going to be in touch a little bit more after today.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely.
So, Anjum, tell us about your YouTube channel. Is there a URL or what is it?
Yeah,
And
I do have. Probably after the chat, I will post it below the video, below the replay. I will post the URL. And also, if somebody is in require of one-to-one coaching or things like that, they can definitely DM me on my messenger or just go to my Facebook profile and leave me a DM. I will be more than happy to get in touch with you.
Well, fantastic, fantastic.
Thank you. Atul, do you want to say
All
anything?
right. No, I think we had a fantastic time. It's already an hour of talking. I don't want to spend more time. I'm sure we just didn't realize how we spent the time today. And thank you, Anjum, for taking your precious time out and joining us on this show. Also, my thanks to...
Sorry. Would you read this final message that just came up?
What a beautiful insight into understanding your own emotions. Thank you, Anjum. So, Anjum, we have a comment for you.
Pleasure
All
is
right.
mine. And I
Yes.
really want to take this moment and applaud every one of you who have shown their presence to this discussion. Because
Great.
merely by being here, you have shown that it is important to take care of yourself. You have given
Great.
that priority, and I really want to applaud your presence. Thank you
Wow,
so much.
amazing.
You could have been doing so many other things, but giving a thought about self-care and being here truly means a lot to me. Thank you.
I'm sure.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure. So, friends, we had an amazing time with Anjum Saba today, and we also learned and had a very extensive, deep discussion on self-care. Thank you, Anjum, once again for taking your time out to join this show. Also, my sincere thanks to Marian for joining us today. I thank all the viewers on Facebook for taking their precious time out to watch this show live. Our best wishes until we meet again next week. All right.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Atul.